Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the podcast Strikes Back. My name is George and you're listening to our review of Bumblebee with the boys Connor.
Did you just make that Scottish?
Bumblebee.
Which is
I'm not going to say yes or no, I'm just going to repeat it.
I really liked it when John Cena was like, Bumblebee!
A classic Scottish character, Bumblebee.
Yeah. Connor?
Hi.
Benny?
Hello there.
Here we are. We are here for the 6th Transformer movie since 2007. What sort of a world are we living in? I don't know. But luckily enough, Michael Bay has not returned, and we have Kubo and the Two Strings director Travis Knight at the helm, injecting a little bit of something fresh into the franchise. So guys, we talked about Transformers at length on this podcast. We reviewed The Last Night last year. We reviewed the trailers for Bumblebee. How was everyone feeling going in? Connor, you look like you want to talk right now.
Oh,
do I?
Oh, do I?
Oh, do I?
I am. I think we all had Transformers as one of our bottom 5 films of last year.
I don't think I did.
You were wrong. Whatever.
I definitely did.
But we all agreed that it was it was a pile, right?
We don't need to get too much into the last night. I thought it was better than the fourth one, definitely.
Okay. Anyways,
you too.
So coming into this, after watching the marketing materials and the trailers and all that, I was actually going into it kind of excited because it did seem very different than the Michael Bay Transformers films, which at least I loved to hate. And so that's kind of, I was going in quite excited. I had high hopes for this. Travis Knight, I love Kubo and the Two Strings. I think he's got some pretty decent cred. He's got cred in the animation world. And I think that one of the kind of cool things about animation is that they tend to focus on story a lot more, just because I think that they have to get it across the line.
Character and emotion, certainly, especially in the Laika films, which is not what you point out as a strength of the Michael Bay Transformers movies.
No, exactly. I mean, Michael Bay, for all his failings, knew how to direct action and exciting, quick scenes with lots of explosions. I mean, that was his wheelhouse. And that's what he did really well. So this was obviously a bit of a change in gear. Should we just go through what we felt and then, or what we were expecting and then go?
Expecting.
Okay, I'll keep what I thought then. I'll hold it in.
Benny?
I was the same as you. I was actually pretty excited going into this. I liked that. I really liked the trailers. Just the look of the Generation 1 designs of all the Transformers I thought were fantastic. The little snippets we got of Cybertron from the trailers I thought looked really cool. The premise, a Bumblebee prequel meant nothing to me. I don't give a shit about the character. But basically the entire hook here was the director and the cast as well, Haley Steinfeld and John Cena. John Cena is he's one of those rock type guys who's just much more charming than you think he should be, and just a lot of fun to watch. And Haley Steinfeld has just been, ever since I first saw her in True Grit when she was like 12 years old, man, I reckon she should have got Best Supporting Actress that year. She was amazing. What a screen presence.
She was phenomenal, yeah.
Yeah, just an absolute movie star. So, it was just all positive going into this, really. And definitely good to get a break from Bay. Although, much as I think all of those movies suck, I think all of them suck to slightly varying degrees, given the last couple. I'll always be there day one to watch a Michael Bay fucking Transformers movie because no one knows how to direct action like that dude. I reckon his technical directing skills are just one of a kind. Like he's on his own fucking level. And bad as they are, they're always interesting.
They're editing
to watch.
Nightmares, plot just all over the place. Guy couldn't edit a movie to save his life.
They're literally offensive. I feel like they're the most offensive blockbusters that exist nowadays.
I think on a macro scale, he just doesn't know what he's doing. But on a micro scale, if you're talking, action scene by scene, masterful.
I'm interested to reference back to that because there's going to be a lot of comparisons between Travis Knight's style and Michael Bay's, and they're very, very different. I think there's a lot to unpack there. For me, pretty similar to you guys, except I was I think I was a bit more invested in the Travis Knight. Travis Knight coming to this as the director. I have so much goodwill from Kubo. I just thought, this guy is going to save the day. And then, I don't know, recently I've been feeling like he's just going to get trodden on and this isn't really going to be his film. So what the hell am I, why am I kidding myself here?
Yeah, why are you supporting Paramount?
The trailers were solid, nothing amazing. So I had a little bit of goodwill in this, and let's get into overall thoughts.
Yeah.
Because one thing I want to say really quick was the last trailer we reviewed. I was sort of like, oh, here we go. Here's the robot army on Cybertron.
Yeah.
And here we go. I'm going to totally just phase out. I'm just going to not even give a shit.
Yeah.
And that for me was my favorite part of this film. that opening sequence really was fantastic.
It rocked.
And for all the cred we're giving Michael Bay, Travis Knight, I've got to say, man, I prefer his way of shooting action. If we're just referencing this scene, I'm liking more of the wide shots they go for in this. You get a little more time to actually see the characters, and it just worked a lot more for my sensibilities. Michael Bay's rapid fire, super shaky cam in your face. Obviously, it's technically brilliant in its own way, but I like the framing device in this, and that really, I was like, wow, okay, Travis Knight, let's go. Like, you've got me now. This first 10 minutes, you've impressed me. Let's see where the rest of this goes.
So that seems to, like, all the reviews that have come out so far seem to indicate that is the best part of this film. Like that first 5 minutes is pretty spectacular.
I'd agree. Yeah,
I'd say like that's when you get to see the first, like the G1, the Generation 1 designs of all the robots and shit. I'll say for my part that I kind of enjoyed it, but at the same time, the redesign kind of threw me. I'm not entirely sure if this is meant to be in the same overall universe as the other Transformers, because if it is, it makes no sense whatsoever.
No.
You're not going to the Transformers franchise for sense, surely.
Yeah, but I mean, like, just like blatantly makes no sense. Like, it's just like direct contradiction, which again is not something that is new to the franchise, but it's just like kind of to a whole new level. I suppose I expected better from Travis Knight.
No, come on, that's great that they don't feel like they have to stay continuous with the shitty movies that have come before. That they're able
to just don't make it part of the same universe. Easy.
Well, yeah, I would say it would be stronger if it was a complete reboot, but I like that. Given that presumably Travis Knight had certain parameters that he had to stay true to.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're able to go, we'll take these parts that do work and we'll forget about the parts that don't work. Because I think that the designs of the Transformers in this movie are the strongest point of the film, and I think they all look terrific.
Well, it is the strongest point of the film for people that are invested in the TV show from the 80s.
I don't agree. I'm not invested in that, and I think they're better designs.
I think that show's shit.
Very rarely. Well, then, okay.
I think it's worse than the Michael Bay movie.
I think
Sorry, Transformers fans, but 80s cartoons suck.
I feel like the silhouettes here are so much stronger. Like Bumblebee kind of looks like a bug. Optimus Prime, they're very, very distinct.
Yeah.
And in the old one, there were so many surfaces, and you never really got a good sense of what the Transformers actually look like. There was so much visually going on, which was impressive. It was definitely impressive. But the overall character design, like I could immediately identify each character.
I felt like it had gone too simple. Particularly, like, I mean, Bumblebee throughout the film seems fine, like in terms of that kind of simplicity. But when you're on Cybertron in that first 5 minutes, it just seems really, really simple. Like particularly some of those Decepticons and particularly the voices that we're using, it felt 80s cartoon. I was like, bro, this is just...
I liked it.
This is
I
too
thought it was
much.
really fun. I thought Soundwave sounded great.
It almost felt like toys. They were almost
That's
like
my
toys
point.
being
It
played
felt
with.
like
I
toys.
liked that.
It looked
really
looked like an animated movie, which I think is why it's the strongest part of the film, because Travis Knight is at most at home.
Yes. You're probably right there.
So I think we should kind of pull back a little bit because we're not getting into spoilers right now. And I think we might be going a little bit too specific on this.
In the first 5 minutes?
Yeah. I will say, as an overall, or kind of my thoughts on the film, was that apart from that first 5 minutes, I found this movie relatively boring. The two takeaways were, it was boring, and it was very much a kids film. So the humor in it was very kids film. The plot I found was very basic. Is certainly a lot more consistent than Bay's plot, but it felt like it had gone the exact opposite direction. That there's no ambition behind this plot. There was no kind of. I felt like the character devices that they used were overly simple, and just really kind of tacky.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just like. There's so much about this film, and we can go into it a little bit more into the specifics during our spoiler review. But I found this movie just overall really simple and boring. I mean, that's not to say that there aren't really interesting parts of this film, and that I feel like that might make me sound as though I'm being too harsh on this film, which I probably am. But that was just the sense I got, because there was moments in this film where I'm like, oh fuck off, just like give me some Bay action at this point. Like I would rather watch a big Bay, blowing up scene, than have to sit through this really basic fucking storytelling again.
Yeah, I couldn't really believe leaving the cinema and going to myself, wow, that Transformers movie could have used a bit more action.
That's a weird thing to say, isn't it?
I never thought that would be the case, but I agree with you. It sags in the middle. Yeah. And I really appreciated what Travis and I did in terms of bringing in an earnestness and an emotion to these characters, because there's some character arcs in here that I think work pretty well. It's not the best writing you'll ever see, but if you compare this to Shia LaBeouf's character in the other 5 movies, you're actually getting some good character beats. And I got a bit of a connection with Haley Steinfeld's character. I bought into her and the character and what she was going through, but you didn't get a lot of different environments in that middle part. They were, you were sort of locked into this one space. You weren't getting introduced to a lot of different things, and that's where it kind of stagnated for me.
So I think, what you're saying, George, about the character arcs, they're very simple, and I think people would be much more forgiving of them in an animated film.
Yep.
Where they generally are very simple and life lessons or whatever. Overall, I quite enjoyed this movie, though. I think, like what you're saying, I think the characters, the heart was there, which is not traditionally true of these movies. And I just think Haley Steinfeld carried the movie really well. And the characterization of Bumblebee himself, I thought was very fun. What I didn't expect is I really liked him at the beginning when he had his voice.
Me too.
I didn't expect that at all. I really liked him as a character. I was kind of disappointed when he turned back into the Bumblebee we sort of know more, which is like a kind of a wounded Labrador.
Yeah, I wanted more. It was Dylan O'Brien from the Maze Runner series who did his voice.
Okay, cool.
I think he did a fantastic job, and it fit seamlessly.
Yeah, I liked him. He felt like this kind of young scout, trooper guy.
But we do get a voice origin story.
Yep.
For better or worse.
Yeah. This movie surprised me in how little, and we'll talk about it specifically in spoilers, and how little it tied into the other movies, at least for the first half or so, which because I thought, when the movie started off, I feel like it was directly contradicting stuff we've seen before about the fall of Cybertron, and not just visually, I was like, cool.
Oh, sorry, I should be clear. When I say that it was contradicting things, visually was only like a very small part of that. There's like just direct contradictions into like actual plot.
Yeah.
I wish I actually gave a shit about the Transformers canon for that to rub me the wrong way. I don't.
I mean, those movies contradict themselves movie to movie. Every movie is like, no, they arrived earlier.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing to the franchise, but at least there was with them arriving earlier, at least there was a small amount. Like you can go say they're going earlier, but then you can't then retroactively say they came later for the first time. Like there has to be or when Bumblebee came to Earth, or when there's a bunch of things that they're just like very clearly couldn't have happened if a lot of the things in the previous Transformers films. And that was it's not that like I really hold true to Transformers lore or the Michael Bay Transformers lore. Lie. It's more that if they're part of the universe, fucking cop the universe, like just be part of that universe. Or if you're going to do your own thing, do your own thing. I don't mind either way, but be consistent.
Yeah, I'm not invested enough for me to really get too hung up on those intricacies.
I'm getting old. My memory's cooked. I can't remember. I
Yeah,
can't remember
seriously.
TV shows week to week, let alone movies year to year. That's why I have to rewatch the Marvel movies every year because otherwise I'm just not going to keep track. So yeah, that stuff doesn't bother me at all. I love that this was kind of just, yeah, like I said, cherry picking what it wanted to keep and what it didn't. I think Travis did a really good job with the look of this movie. I thought it was it was weird. It was really surprisingly noticeable when this movie started. Not seeing Transformers with all Dutch angles and like when the people show up, they're not all like sweaty and golden, and orange. It was kind of cool to see that new because it's crazy that this is a sixth movie and it's the first one not directed by Michael Bay.
And no Linkin Park.
No Steve Jablonsky.
Yeah.
So I guess my overall take on this movie is that if it was like 25% shorter, I think it would be pretty great.
Yeah.
I think one thing that really stood out to me, once again, going back to that distinct voice between Travis Knight compared against Michael Bay, is the way the military's handled in this. The military in Michael Bay films is like, America, get them in there. And in this one, they were kind of the bad guys, but out of necessity. Like they were protecting Earth. And I didn't feel like they were put on that same sort of pedestal that Michael Bay, like he really has, for better or worse, he's very patriotic and
He's got a military fetish.
Jingoistic.
and he has appreciation for what they do and protecting the country. Fair enough. But I liked the angle that they went with here.
They're a little more human in this because they were making bad decisions here and there.
And
too.
good.
But I mean,
and,
like
and I enjoyed John Cena as well. I thought he was good.
I hate to
Did you think so? You wouldn't say there's much of a difference in the way the military is portrayed.
There's a huge difference, but I don't think in the way that you said, because the military is quite clearly the bad guy in a bunch of the Transformers franchise.
You remember so much more about these movies than I do.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just seem to remember it. Yeah, entire plots hinge on the idea that the military is fucked up. Like, it's not just this unilateral.
I'm just thinking
they're all
about. I
great.
guess I'm just thinking about Transformers.
I think that's more the
one where
government.
Josh Duhamel is
Government and Sector 7. And,
so I
and
I would
guess
say
all
it's the
this
government
kind of
fucking
stuff.
up,
That's
and
the
the military
government,
is very separate from that.
Yeah.
In those movies, they're portrayed as very separate.
Yeah, okay, sort of.
very separate. Extremely distinct.
Separate.
No, I don't
Like one's here and one's
maybe
here.
get away with
literally
like
different hemispheres.
slightly different, but like you can't just say like clear cut. At any rate, the difference that I found was like the military in this almost seemed goofy. That's a bunch of this film. Like it just seems there's a couple of examples that came to mind, and again we can go through them on spoilers, but there's like it wasn't. I mean, like
The cartooniness.
it was.
Yeah.
It was cartooniness. It was. This was a kids film. That I
didn't mind
know.
that. I didn't mind that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's what they were going for. That's what it was sold as, and that's what I was expecting, and certainly not disappointed by it. What surprised me is how when it veered into not being a kids' film in certain parts, which we can talk about specifically later. But I feel like it did have a bit of an edge to it that surprised me, and not in like a really gross way. Like the Michael Bay movies get so weirdly like violent and fascistic at points.
I did notice that in this
really
film because you've
off-putting.
always talked about how nonchalantly Optimus Prime will just destroy his own people.
Just ripping their heads off and
that-
like
is that number
drinking their
two?
oil. You know that one. I think it's in the third one. I think it's in the third one, and he's like, "I'll kill all of you."
Yeah.
Oh, it's the second one, maybe.
When he's in the forest.
Yeah, yeah,
and he's
yeah.
fucking
this
everyone
one.
up.
But
And
to
he
be
rips
honest-
that guy's spine out with a hook.
But to be
Oh,
honest,
man.
I fucking love that scene. I really do. Because it's a
yeah.
brilliant
It's
piece of
insane.
action.
Yeah, those movies are nuts.
But yeah, in this, I don't think that this one. I'd be interesting to see what you think the dark spots are, because this movie at its darkest seemed to be less goofy. Like that was the contrast. It was like, we're gonna get dark now. How dark? Just slightly less goofy than we were before.
Should we get into overall opinions, or are there any other little things you want to dissect in the non-spoiler part of the review?
John Cena was charming but goofy.
Solid man. I after blockers and
He
this,
is a
I'm
solid
sold.
man.
I'm sold.
I like him, but I don't think he was given really much to do in this.
I thought he was stronger in blockers. Like, I don't think this is the best showcase of his work, but yeah, definitely liked him.
I think he's just got good on-screen presence, and I love the fact that Mark Wahlberg was in 4, and there's that joke in Oh, what's that movie?
Trainwreck.
Trainwreck.
I look like
Mark Wahlberg.
ate
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, I love that.
It just sort of tickled me a little bit.
I thought the makeup on his face was horrific.
Oh, really?
It was so bad.
Too much blush.
No, it was like he was meant to be injured, and it was
You mean the
someone
scar?
who quite clearly just taken like a red crayon and just drawn down his face. I was like,
I love the little things you focus in on movies, like the continuity
just silly
things
shit
is
like
a
that.
big
Yeah.
thing.
I think I've been really negative on this film, but things that I thought were done really well. Haley Steinfeld's performance was pretty good. Again, I can't even say great. Nothing in this film really stood out to me as really spectacular, apart from like the first 10 minutes, I think, which was the most actiony, part of the film. That really interested me, and I think that I could have lived with that if it had kind of continued on throughout the film.
Nice. In terms of a final wrap up, non-spoiler for me, I think this is my favorite Transformers movie. It's not the best one, but it's the most watchable for my sensibilities. It just doesn't have that Michael Bay obnoxiousness all over it. It's not great. It gets boring in the middle, but there's enough in here with the character designs and the emotion to put it over the line. I will also say that 2 of the new Decepticon characters, fucking awesome. They got some really funny lines in here. So yeah, a solid movie, but definitely, I'm not sure why this is getting such hype from the critics, because what's this on 90 something on Rotten
96%
Tomatoes?
Rotten Tomatoes. So what that is, I think, is like it's very easy to give this movie a positive review. I feel like it's got
better than the last one.
96% of like
3 out of
6 or
5s.
7 out of 10s. Yeah. Like I don't think anyone's raving about it. It's just a good looking score. I really appreciate the how scaled back this movie is after the last 5, just building up and up and up and up into just insane to degrees. I love that this is a movie that has like a Transformer and a couple other Transformers, and we get glimpses of some bigger stuff elsewhere. But I think that's actually, funnily enough, like a bold choice for a movie in the Transformers franchise, because it just seems so built on just scaling up to the nth degree. I enjoyed it throughout. It, like you said about that obnoxiousness of the Michael Bay movies, like I would say the Michael Bay ones 1 to 5 vary from like 40% to 80% unbearable throughout, and I don't think this had any of that. There was no point where I was rolling my eyes. I just been like, "Fuck, Kenji on, get off the screen." But I do think it's overlong. I think you could cut a bit out of this. Not even necessarily like cut scenes out of it, but I feel like there's a lot of moments that just hang on for like 20% too long.
Yes.
And if you sliced all of that out, you'd have a much tighter film.
Yeah. Can I just
Can
add something?
Can I quickly just straight off that point and then you go? I just want to talk about something really quick with frame fucking. This is this thing that the Russo brothers talking about in an interview they do. They basically cut the whole movie, right? And then they try and shave off 1 to 2 seconds from every scene or every cut. So they call it frame fucking. So that's what this movie needed.
Yeah.
Need a bit of
Cool.
frame
It
fucking.
needed a seriously hard fucking. It just kind of off of something that you said, where you said this is your favorite Transformers film, and I was trying to think about like where it sat in my rankings. And the weird thing is that I don't think it deserves the top spot. Like I just but like the previous Michael Bay Transformer films are objectively worse films. So, but gun to my head, I'd probably rather watch Transformers 1 or even 2 before I watch this. The reason is that even though all of the Michael Bay Transformer films are terrible, they are at least interestingly terrible. Or have moments of really it is peppered with like explosions and like fun action scenes, so I can maintain some level of interest throughout the film. Whereas this,
Even the last night.
sorry,
Even the last night.
some of the films are peppered with. I haven't even watched. I haven't watched Last Light since we watched the last. That's the least in my mind.
Yeah.
But the first one and the second one have. I mean, like
The second one's one of the worst ones. Come on.
No.
The second one
3
has
and 4 is worse.
The second one has the rep for being the worst. Like that's one of the most notoriously.
I
shit on
remember going to
sequels
see
ever.
that.
I remember the second one. The second one has that really good scene of like him fighting those guys in the forest. Like there's a couple scenes that I'll just like.
And it's got
I'll
that
watch
bit
around.
in Egypt that goes on for about an hour and a half.
Oh, that's right.
Oh my lord.
No, I'm sorry. The third one's got to be the worst.
The third one.
I remember
with
watching
Chicago,
that
Dark
thinking,
of the Moon. I'd say Dark of the Moon's better than.
That's what's funny. These movies are all so
Bad.
bizarre and terrible that everyone's ranking is so wildly different. Like I would say, the third one's possibly even the best of the Bay ones for me.
I'd
Oh,
say
it
the
might be,
first
but,
one
like,
might be the
I
best
remember-
one. But
I remember rewatching the last, I think it was like 20 minutes, just because we had talked about the trailer and I was interested in, I was looking for something in the film. And I watched like a section of the last 20 and was just so fucking blown away by how poorly it was edited. Like, just like shockingly bad. Like, you know, characters fighting and then like 5 minutes later, they're just in a completely different situation that has no, like, you have no way of saying like, how did they get here? Like, how did this happen? And it happens.
I love the Battle of Chicago.
It's
like,
so fucking bizarre.
Not the whole hour necessarily, but you know that bit where like Optimus Prime comes flying into that street,
that's
just covered in
fucking brilliant.
Decepticons. He's like spinning around with like two swords.
Yeah,
and,
when he's like skating,
fuck, and
along,
yeah,
and he's just
I don't
like
know.
fucking slicing,
I like
which is
Hugh-
great. But
Yeah.
like, it's Anyways, at any rate, at least I can have that kind of conversation about like how bad it is, or just how bizarre it is, like whatever it is,
Right.
like. It's
Yeah, okay.
interesting. Like I'm watching it for one reason or another, like engaged, being like, this is the most bizarre fucking thing ever.
sure. But
Whereas-
this one didn't have that much.
This
to
one was
talk
just
about.
like at times it was just boring. So
Yeah, I gotcha.